Hey everybody, this is going to be part 2 of our look into the Gospels. Last week you would have seen the first part in Luke chapter 8 where Jesus was with his disciples on the lake. We got on the canoe, Ryan and I filmed out there. This week we're still here at Lake Lookout, but we've come up on the Cove, we've come up on the rocks, and so we're going to look at Luke chapter 8 again, the second half of it. And then the following week, we're going to be right back in the Psalms with Psalm chapter 7. And so let us go ahead and open up our Bibles, and you can turn to Luke chapter 8. I'm going to read it all again, but I want us to really see the back half of this psalm, of this scripture. I'm used to the Psalms, aren't I? The back half of this passage in the Gospels. And so Luke chapter 8, verse 22, it says, "One day he got into a boat with his disciples, and he said to them, 'Let us go across to the other side of the lake.' So they set out. And as they sailed, he fell asleep. And a windstorm came down on the lake, and they were filling with water and were in danger. And they went and woke him, saying, 'Master, Master, we are perishing.' And he awoke and rebuked the wind and the raging waves, and they ceased. And there was a calm. He said to them, 'Where is your faith?'" And so last week we would have really stopped right there and focused on that passage, on that scripture right there. Where is your faith? We would have had that illustration of even being on the lake and a storm coming and sort of taking over the boat, and the fear and the terror even that was going through the disciples, men that were even used to the water as fishermen. And as Jesus awakes and he says, "Peace, be still," and he calms the wind, he calms the seas. And it shows that he is in control and that we can trust him. And Jesus was showing those disciples, where is your faith? Do you trust me truly? Do you believe in me? In this next half of this, I want us to look at today. The back half of verse 25, it says, "And they were afraid, and they marveled, saying to one another, 'Who then is this, that he commands even winds and water, and they obey him?'" He said the main thing I want us to see here is really this key word, and it's the word marveled. They marveled at Jesus. I love that it describes it that way, because these disciples had seen a glimpse of the glory of God. They'd seen a miracle that Jesus could calm the winds and the waves, that as he just spoke, he said, "Peace, be still," and they stopped. And as the disciples saw that, their response was to be in awe of Jesus, to just be completely consumed by his being, by his glory, by his majesty, by his power. And as the scripture says, they marveled at him. And they looked and they said, "Who is this that even the winds and the sea obey him?" So I want to ask us today, as you listen to this, do we marvel at Jesus? When we think of him, when we read his word, when we spend time in prayer, when we come to church to worship, when we currently watch church online to worship, when we think about God, when we think about Jesus, does it result in us marveling at him? Or is it just some other thing in our life that's just added into everything else? If it's just something that's just basic, ordinary, normal. Or when we see Jesus, when we read his word, when we see his glory, when we see him working through people, do we marvel at him? Does he have our adoration? See, Jesus desires this from us, that he wouldn't just be some ordinary thing that we include into our life, but that we as Christians, as people, that we would marvel at the glory of God, that it would consume us in a way that is overwhelming to us. You see, we see this throughout Scripture. We see when Isaiah comes into the temple and God reveals himself to Isaiah, and he just falls to his knees. When Moses is on the mountain and he falls to his knees and he comes back shining. When Paul in Damascus and Jesus reveals himself to him, he marvels at him. When Jesus reveals himself to the disciples after the resurrection, they marvel at him in the upper room in the house. Do we marvel at Jesus that way? When we think of Mary and Martha and the women, when they see Jesus after the resurrection, they marvel at him? Does he get that from us? You see, the disciples saw his glory and his power, and the response was adoration. And so I want to challenge us. I want to encourage you. I want to even ask you, are we marveling at Jesus? Is he just something ordinary? Do we look at the things in this world, athletes, celebrities, nature, even God's creation? Are we marveling at that more than we marvel at God himself? Are we worshiping the creation more than the Creator? Are we? We need to check ourselves. We need to analyze ourselves. We need to be Christians that open up his word and see this goodness and see that he calmed the sea, that he calmed the winds, and go, gosh, this is incredible. This is the God of the universe. This is the God that loves us so much that he was willing to die for us. This is the God that calls us children, that calls us sons and daughters, that has a room prepared for us in eternity in heaven. This is that God. He is beautiful. He is majestic. He is holy. He is every single thing that we need, and we can trust him through all of it. And so today, and from this day forward, marvel at Jesus. Marvel at the one who loves you, that created you, that died for you. Marvel at him. I hope this has been an encouragement to you. Thank you for watching. God bless you.